I used to play Ubisoft games. Something about them just spoke to me and hit that sweet spot like no other games could. Whether it was the philosophy of Assassin's Creed, the techie world of Watch Dogs, or the childish soul of the Rayman games, I don't know. Let's go from the top. Rayman was a game I played with an old friend. That's all I'm saying about that. Moving on to the others, what did I play on my first true gaming console? I played and replayed the Arkham games, but alongside that series, there were only two other games that kept me going for that generation. The only games I played, Assassin's Creed 1 and 2. I've already spoken about the first game. I loved it enough to make a video about it. That really was all I played on the 360 generation. Then came the upgrade to the Xbox One. It was an S model, but that's not important. I had a few great games I played over the course of that generation, but they were limited to Remedy's games, the Forza games, and of course, the Arkham games. The only other games I cared about, I really, truly, absolutely loved. Watch Dogs and Assassin's Creed were two franchises that I poured my gaming hours into, crying and laughing and becoming emotionally invested as my life and the games became one. It sparked in me historical curiosity, showed me the beauty of stealth games, gave me the appreciation for video game soundtracks, and more. I wanted to go on tours of these fascinating locations based on the travels of characters. I wanted to climb every building, I wanted to explore every location, I wanted to listen to every soundtrack all the time, I wanted to read every book, I wanted to discuss to my heart's content with friends and even family. I wanted to create a YouTube channel, in part, to talk about these games and name it after the one who started it all. Then came reality. Ubisoft allowed a workplace rife with misconduct, including racial or sexual harassment and more. Employees didn't feel safe as colleagues were abused. This all came out in the news around 2020 through allegations and investigations. I'd encourage you to do your own research if this is the first you're hearing about it. It's been 2 years since 2020. And bear in mind that just because the investigation started then doesn't mean any of this toxic culture doesn't go back even further. Well, they must have done something to fix this, right? Wrong. Since then, all that's really happened is a shuffle around of harassers, with only some being fired from their jobs, along with an update to the code of conduct, which just goes to show how terrible Ubisoft is as a company. An update to T's and C's just makes it seem like abusers at the company see nothing wrong with that. Over the past year, Ubisoft has usually made this information public through back channels rather than publishing it in their official spaces. They just want us to forget, but we can't. We won't. 1 year ago to this day, I and others pledged to hold Ubisoft accountable. No longer would we support this harmful company. Assassin's Creed had been my reference point for so much of so-called real life for years. Historical landmarks and events will always instinctively remind me of when I discovered them through these games. As you can imagine, I was hurt. I've been hurt for the past year, to the point where I delayed this video to now. I've spent this time figuring out how to move forward. I can't bring myself to listen to any of their music since then. I can't bring myself to find joy in their games again. I can't even start reading a book in my library. I felt sick. I can't even have fond memories of my time spent within their worlds. Maybe I will in the future, but certainly not yet. If I've been this hurt, I can only imagine what employees at the company have been feeling for years. How do I feel right now? What's going to change with the various channels? Nothing that hasn't already been said externally, but it would have been easy to miss, so I'll update you here. Instagram. I haven't been posting any more Ubisoft content and I will continue not to, but posts and highlights will stay for posterity. Twitter. I won't tweet about Ubisoft unless it's related to progress, which we can all hope for. We won't get any progress if we don't stick together to hold Ubisoft accountable in our own ways. I choose to do this, but you might be able to play these games and more, and that's okay. I just don't have it in me. One day, maybe. Twitch. I will not stream any kind of Ubisoft content, no streaming of their games or events. That's why we abruptly ended our playthroughs last year. That's why we ended our speedrunning attempt too. Maybe we'll speedrun something else. But I can't propagate this further. If anything comes up in conversation, I will talk about it to an extent that depends on how I'm feeling at the time. I can't separate the anger from the company right now. But I also have to be truthful to my personal experiences. If something in a new game reminds me of a Ubisoft game, it's justifiable to make that comparison. Whether I make it is another question. Even spontaneously talking about Ubisoft or jumping into a conversation would be fine. I did enjoy their old games, and I need to be able to acknowledge the truth of my past. Again, old stream series will stay up for posterity. And finally here on YouTube, I can't be complicit in this. I will not produce any new video projects on their games. That genetic memory video, cancelled. The Revelations video, cancelled. My ideal stealth game, cancelled. The passion has gone. All my old videos will stay up for posterity. If a comparison can be made in a video, maybe I'll make it, maybe I won't. The channel name stays. Like I say, this is just what I want, what I need to do. If you feel differently about this situation, that's absolutely fine. Do whatever you feel is necessary. You might even feel like none of this is necessary. Ubisoft just burrowed deep enough within my core that I need to make my intentions clear and explain all the changes that I'm making out of support for their victims. It goes without saying that I won't be buying any further content from the company. I won't be completing my music collection, which I don't see myself listening to soon. I won't be buying more games, and I won't be buying more books. But people change. I might feel like I could start playing the older games again. I might be able to look at my old photos without feeling disgusted. That's okay. These aren't personal rules set in concrete, but are a way of clarifying everything as we continue to hold Ubisoft accountable.